welcome back to another episode of Change Wired podcast. My name is Angela Shurina. I'm your host. I'm your master health executive coach, sleep, nutrition, fitness, feeling, looking, doing your absolute best, and most importantly, learning how to implement all of that, all the new habits and knowledge into your life, changing your habits, changing what you do every day, change for personal, collective growth and evolution. That's what we are all about here. Change Wired. So after listening to this podcast episode, you'll always get away with a few strategies and one action step to get better, invest in yourself, and to learn how to change towards your potential better and better and better. Today, guys, we are talking about sleep. We are talking about sleep toolkit. It's going to be research-backed advice based on our current understanding of how sleep works and what habits and routines and rituals allows us to consistently, and by consistently, I mean, almost every night, to have great quality of sleep, so then you can think sharper, make better decisions, feel and look your best, eat well, prevent injuries, don't get sick that often, and be crushing your fitness goals. Sleep. You'll understand during this podcast, why it's so counterproductive to try to shortcut your sleep, what the research and science says, what you actually undermine when you try to minimize sleep. We'll talk about common beliefs that a lot of high achievers and strivers and leaders have that make them deprioritize their sleep, and by doing so, deprioritizing or shooting in the food their own objectives. So you're going to understand that. You're going to understand how you can be right now self-sabotaging without even knowing that, like taking away the quality of sleep that you could be having, but you don't, because you don't implement certain things consistently that are required for the sleep state to occur. First, maybe let's start from the disempowering false beliefs that in my work, I notice a lot of leaders, a lot of high achievers. And when I talk to people, like in general, people have about sleep. And that's what steals the quality of the sleep that they might have, no matter how many hours they decide to sleep, right? So sleep is about quantity, but even more so about quality. And I always tell to my clients that, okay, you might not always decide to sleep optimal amount of time, but I want you to have the right kind of strategies and tools and habits so the hours that you choose to sleep, they are as good as they can be. Because if you don't sleep enough hours and your sleep is crappy, it's like double hit to any of your performance, health, sleep, longevity, well-being, just feeling good, making great decisions, achieving, recovering well from your achievement, right? You undermine all of these objectives and you don't show up sustainably as your best self for people you love and your mission. And you might think, well, I'm doing my best and I'm achieving quite a lot, but it's not your potential if you are not at your best, and you are not at your best if you always shortcut your sleep. But let's talk specific, like what happens. Well, let's maybe start with a couple of false and limiting beliefs. From a lot of leaders, I hear something like that. Maybe, not direct quotation, but they mean something along the lines of, I'll sleep more when things calm down. And being a high achiever, striver, it actually means that you'll always find what to do and you'll always be busy. If you ask a high achiever, how are you? Very often you would hear busy. And that's not the state of things for most achievers that they're actually trying to avoid. They love doing stuff. They love being busy. So by definition, when you say, I'll sleep more when things come down, it's like saying, I'm never going to sleep more. Well, if you're never going to sleep more, then just say so to yourself instead of trying to make excuses or justify that that's just how life is. No, that's how you chose to live your life. The second thing is a lot of people I worked with and people I talk to think that sleep it's a state that's going to happen when it's meant to. It's kind of like, well, if I'm in bed and I can't fall asleep and my sleep is crappy, it means either something is wrong with me or it's not meant to be. Or sometimes short sleepers, what they're called in the literature and in the research, people who wake up after, let's say, 5 hours of sleep and they're awake, like, I'm not sleepy, I'm, wired and ready to go. Guess what? It's your stress hormones talking. And it doesn't mean that you need to sleep less. It just means that your sleep, because of how you're wired, of your stress responses, of your routines, etc., cannot happen for longer periods of time. And it cannot happen because you do or don't do certain things, which you learn about on this podcast. So sleep as a state, it's not something that's just going to happen optimally no matter what you do. You actually have to follow certain routines and regulate yourself quite well before sleep happens, so you get the optimal amount of sleep, which is for most people 7 to 9 hours of uninterrupted good quality sleep. Right? So sleep state is not just something that happens. And I was also going through some materials preparing for my board exam for Master Health Coaching certification. I was like, I got my certification, but then now I want to be board certified. So it's additional learning and taking additional exams. And in the lectures, pre-recorded lectures, a lecturer was saying that over the past couple of decades, the amount of short sleepers in the population in general increased. And it's not like we changed genetically. It's just the environment and the demands and how wired we are, how stimulated we are. That's what changed. And that's why people sleep less and less population-wide, even though they need the same amount of sleep for optimal health and recovery, right? Just something alarming. Something tells you that it's not you who need less sleep just because you get up 2 hours earlier than your optimal wake time. It's because the way you structure your self-management, self-regulation, how you're wired, how your stress hormones circulate inside of you, how your sleep time is all over the place. But hey, let's first going to talk about why it is important to prioritize sleep so that you get to achieve more of your goals and live a more beautiful, fulfilling, high-performing, high-achieving, without burnouts life experience. So why it's important and what happens when you consistently sleep 6 hours or less. And then we're going to talk about the saboteurs or behaviors that you do consciously or unconsciously that sabotage good quality of sleep you could be having, but you don't because those things sabotage your sleep. And again, a lot of them you do to yourself, but also it's a lot has to do with our environment these days. Then we're also gonna talk about a few supplements that seem to be very effective and helpful. But again, remember that routines and certain things you eat or drink, consume are a lot more important than and effective than those supplements. Supplement is like a bandage, right? You cannot heal a wound with a bandage. You can only sort of make it slightly less annoying and help with the healing process. So the same with sleep. Supplements are like that. And then we're going to talk briefly about how to implement all of this knowledge that you just learned so you actually do it and succeed instead of just, listening about that and I don't know, trying a couple of things for a couple of days and you're like, it doesn't matter. And then getting back to your stuff and nothing really ever changing quality-wise and longevity-wise. So first, the negative consequences you might expect when you become a perpetual short sleeper, 6 hours or less. 40%, all of this that I'm telling to you right now is based on research and studies. So 40% decision quality drop. After just one poor night, your ability to think clearly and decide well falls by up to 40%. Well, it can go a lot more. Might be less, again, depends on the of like how many nights you didn't sleep well and the rest of your biology and how your brain works, but up to 40% only after only one night of poor sleep. And by the way, the worst thing about it, it's not like you're going to notice. No, your brain is the same machine that does the evaluation. So when your decision quality drops, so is your perception of how well you do cognitively. So you will perform worse and you won't even know it. 60% more emotionally reactive. Sleep-deprived brains are measurably more reactive to stress and negative input, the opposite of the calm, strategic, present leaders need to do their best work. And 2x double the burnout risk. Chronic short sleep under 6 hours more than doubles your burnout risk, which means that you will be out of order or functioning very minimally for a lot of time if you constantly shortcut your sleep against 6 hours or less. And I know quite a lot of my clients who started with 5 hours or less. Can you imagine? And again, you can't even notice it or evaluate it objectively, but studies and research and tests can. What else sleep makes worse for you, shooting you in the foot with all of your health and performance goals? Poor diet choices. Sleep deprivation drives sugar and calorie cravings by up to 45%, making healthy eating far harder. Reduced workout quality and slow recovery. The physical investment you're making in the gym or running doesn't land the way it should. Injury accumulation, soft tissues, joints, muscle can only repair during deep sleep, and no deep sleep, no good recovery. Immune suppression, you're operating at full output while getting sick more often and taking longer to recover, which minimizes your good decision quality and the way you can be effective. And again, you probably won't even notice. You'll be doing your best, but that best is far from your potential. Emotional reactivity. Harder conversations happen at your worst. Relationships become worse and more difficult and more challenging. You'll feel like everyone is on your case. Not everyone. It's just your brain is different without proper sleep. Worst of all, you're making the short-term reactive decisions on autopilot that shape your business and your life while you're running on a depleted brain. And again, most people assume that sleep is just about quantity, where actually what you truly want to care about is how to get good quality, which you can't shortcut and do with a pill or some sort of solution that knocks you out, but never actually allows you to have the sleep experience that your body and brain need to recover well, to perform at your best. So we talked about, again, how a lot of people think that sleep is a luxury and they can't afford it. Well, if you can't afford sleep, yeah, it might be a luxury, but then you can't afford your high performance. And if you think you're performing at your highest level, you are wrong. And with cognitive tests, you will be proven or shown so. Another thing is people again think that sleep is just supposed to happen whenever your body starts. Not the case. There are quite a lot of things that make you not sleep ready, like having inconsistent time sleep, waking and going to bed, like having a lot of stressors and demands and feeling like you can't afford that sleep, living in the emergency mode, like your brain knows when you are in that mode. And results just always playing catch up with your life, fighting fires. You fight fires not because that's the only way it can be, but because you are running in your life in a reactive mode, which usually what happens when you don't sleep enough. Right, and again, not knowing what sabotages your sleep, a lot of people think, well, I know how to sleep. I've been sleeping my whole life. But it's like saying I know how to eat and then majority of population getting obese while thinking that they know how to eat because they did it their whole life. You know, just because I use my computer every day doesn't make me into a computer programmer. And just because you eat every day doesn't make you a nutritionist. So let's talk about practical stuff, like the saboteurs, the behaviors, the routines, the environments that shortcut your sleep, that make your optimal sleep, if not impossible, then very hard. Number one, I was reviewing the literature for the exam, and number one cause of poor sleep or poor sleep quality. Guess what? Guess what? What's number one behavior that doesn't let you to sleep well optimally or for as long as needed? Inconsistent sleep time. Repeating again, so you remember, inconsistent sleep time is number one thing that prevents you from getting the sleep you need. And the reason is your brain needs to actually release certain hormones, change your metabolism, change the way your brain and nervous system work to prepare you for sleep. And your brain, contrary to popular belief, does not know what time you decide to go to bed today or tomorrow. If your sleep-wake time is always, slightly off, your brain does not know how to optimally change your hormones, release melatonin, decrease cortisol, change your nervous system state, change your metabolism so to make you sleepy and align all of the sleep phases so you get optimal recovery and you actually feel sleepy and awake when you want to feel sleepy and when you want to feel awake. So number one sleep disruptor is the lack of your consistent sleep schedule, hands down. So that is the habit number one I would start. If you can't commit to 7 days of sleep on the same time, you'll be perpetually in the state of what's called social jet lag. There is a reason why they have this term. It's kind of like being in jet lag all the time with slightly off everything, right? Then let's talk about evening saboteurs or behaviors and routines and environments that can sabotage your sleep through different mechanisms. Bright light overhead after dark suppresses melatonin, which makes you sleepy, makes you fall asleep and prepare your whole biology for sleep. Screen exposure with no blue light protection, meaning there are apps, there is night mode on different phones and your computer. Also, your TV screen might not have that blue light protection. So either blue light protecting glasses or, again, certain night mode, certain apps, or don't use screens an hour before bed. Eating within 2-3 hours before bed will change your metabolism, not in a favorable for your sleep way. Alcohol within 6 hours of sleep will change and destroy quite a lot of significant quality of your sleep. No wind down transition. Your brain needs routine. You are not a computer who just shuts down. You need about 1 hour, 30 minutes when you dim the light, when you take the shower, where you put the things off, when you shut down everything. You need to wind down. Like if I were to compare you are a computer who needs 30 minutes to run shutting down sequence. Think about it that way and put on your calendar or put alarm on where 30 minutes before your sleeping time, you need to start winding down. Irregular bedtime. We talked about irregularity. Then morning and daytime saboteurs. No morning sunlight, which is needed to actually bump up your cortisol. So in 14 to 16 hours, your melatonin can gradually rise and you can fall asleep, feel sleepy and have beautiful sleep experience, right? So morning light is very actually important. So you can use different light panels, which are not as great as getting outside for 10 minutes at least, but also a good helper. Irregular waking times will also contribute to you not being as sharp and ready to go. And that means then by the time it's night, you're also not going to be that sleepy and ready to sleep. Caffeine too late, ideal, you would stop your caffeine 12 hours before bed, or at the very least, like by 2 p.m. or 8 to 10 hours, even though they say that half-life of caffeine in your body is 12 hours. So by the time 12 hours passed, it's like there is still some caffeine. So and you might fall asleep, but your sleep architecture is just not going to be the same. And if you don't believe me, try a day with caffeine, without caffeine, track it with some device, and see how it's going to change your sleep quality. Okay? No physical movement. If you are sedentary, don't get your steps, don't train, especially first part of the day, you're kind of like sitting. That's going to be detrimental to your sleep quality. So physical activity does matter. The more active people are, especially in the first part of the day, the easier it is to fall asleep at night. High stress evenings, when you bump up your cortisol, your dopamine with some stimulants and stimulating work or activities, it's going to take longer. Or if you do hard workout less than 2-3 hours before bed, it's going to be harder for your body and brain to shut down. So that's why it's really good to be super active physically and otherwise in the morning, in the afternoon, and then start sort of winding down in the evening. And then wrong sleep environment, dark, cool, and quiet. Dark, cool, and quiet. Remember, guys, and for most of you, that means getting yourself a good sleep mask, getting yourself earplugs that you can sleep with comfortably. It takes some time to adjust, but then it should be like a game changer for the quietness and your sleep. Cool, yes, when you're hot, it's very hard for your body to have optimal sleep experience. It is recommended to take a hot shower so then the body can cool itself down, and the drop in temperature will actually be super beneficial for you to feel sleepy, fall asleep, and have better sleep experience. So that is it, guys. If you need to re-listen to that again, please do. But also, let me share with you a few tips here on the implementation side of things. And once you decide what habit to start with to optimize your sleep, don't start all of them. You'll do nothing. Start with consistent sleep time for like 2 weeks. Just go to bed and wake up at the same time, plus minus 20 minutes. That alone will be a game changer. Well, don't drink alcohol as well close to bedtime. That is a real killer to any of your sleep efforts. But then what can help you to implement all of these sleep protocols? Know your why. Understand why you're committed to sleep. Not just like I'm gonna make it happen when I have time. No, why you're committed. Block it out in your calendar, just like my best clients do. From, I don't know, for me, it's 8:30 to 4:30. I'm out. There is nothing happening in my head, in my calendar. Whenever I find myself doing something, even at 8:30, I'm like, okay, that is shut down sequence right now. I try to be done by 8, but when I can't, like at 8:30, cut off. The second one, again, fixed sleep and wake time. That is your number one priority. Block again sleep like a board meeting on your calendar. Build up a wind down protocol, 30 minutes, close the day, dim the light, take a shower, signal sleep to your brain. In the morning, get outside, get active. Even if it's for 5 minutes, it's going to be a game changer for your sleep at night. And then start small. Start small, guys. Start small. Start with one thing. That is the most effective way to coach people to change their behavior. Start with one thing, track it, dial it in, commit to it, make it into a habit. And only then, if you're able to do that, add things on top of that. So that is it. I also promised you a short list of supplements that actually work and are beneficial and have a biological understood way of acting, helping you to facilitate sleep. Again, it is not what is gonna make your sleep the best it can be. Those are helpers. The main stuff you already learned, starting with consistent sleep-wake time. So magnesium glycinate, 400 milligrams before bed, somewhere around like 60 minutes before bed. L-theanine, which is a compound found in green tea, I think in any tea, but especially in green tea. 200 milligrams before bed. You also can take it with that magnesium. Tart cherry juice, 30 milliliters concentrate, diluted. It's a natural source of melatonin, if you didn't know that, which helps to feel sleepy, it's not a sleeping pill. avoiding large meals, not so much in the supplement side, but that is something you consume. And then 6-hour alcohol rule, no alcohol rule, and caffeine cut off at least, very least 8 to 10 hours before bed. But again, L-theanine, magnesium, apigenin, which is extract from chamomile, chamomile tea. Still really good. Chamomile extract or a supplement with that might be more potent. So magnesium, L-theanine, apigenin, and get to bed on time. Guys, get to bed on time. So this is the end of your sleep toolkit. And I hope, now you have everything there is to know at the moment to maximize your sleep quality. Now you also understand how not getting the sleep that you need and you want is not just luxury. It's not just sleeping in. It's not just more rest. You literally create more injuries, sickness, stupid decision making, and emotional reactivity, and less energy, and poor eating habits, and gaining weight, and losing muscle. You make all of that. You add all of that onto your plate, trying to deal with life challenges and achieving things. So remember all of that when you decide to shortcut your sleep. Treat sleep is the investment necessary. It's like a fuel for being your best, for showing up as your best consistently for year after year after year, so other people, your vision, can rely on you. That's what sleep is. Sleep not for yourself, but for others, because only then can you be your best and others can rely on you consistently. So that is my sleep pitch. Now you have the toolkit. If you have any questions, my Instagram handle, Angela Brain Body Coach, Angela Brain Body Coach, all one word. What else? Don't forget to share this podcast episode with a few people who might think that sleep, a thing that you do when you're dead, you're going to be dead faster and with more suffering, and who also might not know all of these finer details that are needed to happen for your sleep to actually be possible, right? So share this podcast episode, rate, review, ask questions, and for the love of God and human potential, go to bed on time. Thank you guys for tuning in. Thank you for listening. Until next time, keep growing.